guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about tips when writing your medical coding self-review, self-evaluation for the year, okay? If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, so when you are writing your self-evaluation for your work performance as a medical coder, here are some tips to kind of give you some ideas. A lot of people sometimes will think that, oh, I don't know how to write it, or I'm a bad writer, or blah, blah, blah. They don't like to write. You know, there's a lot of people that don't like to write. And there's a lot of people that do like to write, but they're like, I don't know what to write. So whenever you're looking at your own performance throughout the year as a medical coder, some facilities or doctor's offices will have you do this once a year. For me and my facility, we have it twice a year. So we have a midpoint review. And so in 6 months into the year of our evaluation, we will, look back at what we've done. If, the supervisor sees that we are struggling in any way, whether it's productivity or accuracy, that's a good time to get with that employee to make sure that they are okay by the time the year-end evaluation comes up. And then you're like, oh, okay, everything worked out, or, we have to kind of get this person on a performance improvement plan so that way they can get back on track. Guys, life happens. And for whatever reason, sometimes people will dip in their productivity or dip in their accuracy. Or sometimes they just may feel that loss of just drive to go to work. And we have to find ways to get it back. And a good supervisor, a good manager, a good leader will spot that early on so that their employee doesn't have to go through it alone, right? And the thing about being a good leader is also teaching your employees how to do these self-evaluations, because we're not given a manual as employees on how to do this. We may be given guidelines and guide points of what they want covered, but it is also on us to be able to do our own research as employees. So I did get this request for this particular topic, and funnily enough, I have not, yes, I said funnily, funnily enough, I have not covered this topic, but thank you to the viewer who made this request. So here's the thing, guys. When you're looking at your yearly performance as a medical coder, you want to have an objective view on yourself rather than a subjective. Subjective is saying our feelings. Objective, we're talking about the facts. These are objectives. These are what we are pointing out as the truth and what is real and what we can prove. Okay, so you always have to look at that. So when you're looking back at your performance, of course, everybody's going to say, well, I'm the best employee there is. Prove it. Prove it. Okay, so if you're saying, okay, well, I've passed all of my audits for the year. You did not dip below the accuracy standards. You did not dip below the productivity standards at any time during the year. You can put that as one bullet, okay? You want to be able to write these in bullets, because these bullets are going to be like to the point and not with all this other fluffy language. Oh, I was organized. I was a team player. No one cares, guys. We want the facts, okay? We just want the facts. So you can start off, let's just say that you did superbly on your productivity and your accuracy. You can say, during the rating period, my accuracy and productivity was at standard or above standard. And then that's just one line, okay? They can look back on that in the facts and see, yeah, they didn't, but let's just say that maybe a month or so, or maybe 2 months, you dipped below, but you were able to recover. You can say that for these months, whatever the months they were, I was above standard, or I was at standard, So that way they can see, okay, this person's being honest. We're not pointing out that fact, but we're also saying what the fact is that we did good on these months. And if those months are the majority of the months, then hey, we're doing good, okay? If you are tasked with doing additional duties in your job, let's just say that they make you the safety officer for your department. I've been made safety officer before. And so that was something that I added to my evaluation. I said I was appointed safety officer to serve between the months of January to December. And you can just put something like that, however long you're doing it. And if you needed to rewrite the SOP or the standard operating procedure manual, or if you needed to update it, you need to talk about that as well. So you put that on there. I updated the standard operating procedure manual for safety. I conducted safety checks if that was what you did. That's something else that you can write on your evaluation. Again, right to the point, all right? If you are training new medical coders that are coming in, you want to put that on there. I assisted with the onboarding process of new medical coders by helping them to navigate the electronic medical record, whatever one that you use, Epic, Cerner, eClinicalWorks, whatever. You could put that in there, okay? Then you say that, you assisted with that. And if they have you do anything else, like, say, for example, you are working in your clinic, and let's just say you work in the cardiac clinic, and let's just say, for example, the emergency department clinic the emergency department coding fell behind, and so they asked you to help with coding the emergency department. Then you could put that I assisted with coding of the backlog for the emergency department. I was able to maintain standards, or you can even say I coded this many records for the emergency department when we were assisting with coding down the backlog. You want to give the facts, okay? You don't want to give all this fluffy language. Oh, I'm organized, I'm a team player, I keep my area clean. Guys, come on. You want things that are going to show where you're putting in your effort for the mission. Basically, that's what you want to look at. And don't complain about having to do these. I'm not saying the person did who made the request, but I've seen a lot of people complain about having to write these. It's no big deal, guys, because the managers and the supervisors, the leaders, they're not going to know what every single person does on a day-to-day basis. There are some that are that detailed and they know, but there's a lot of them that don't know. And sometimes, especially if they don't know, that's when you need to call it to their attention, because this is the time that you have to brag about yourself. You do have to brag about the good things that you do, because obviously you want to get the best evaluation you can. And whether this evaluation is tied to a financial reward, sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. I've worked many years where I did not get a bonus for my performance for many years. And I still did really great anyway, because of the simple fact that while it's nice to get that, I'm not going to let that be the sole driver for me. My whole thing is I'm here, this is my work, and I'm going to take pride in what I do. It's not going to be based on, well, what are you going to give me if I do this? What are you going to give me if I do this? No, my skills are going to build on the fact that I'm here to do, this is what I was hired to do. And if I want to make more money, if I want to do something, then I can add on something else for me to do, or I can find another job, or, any of those things. So there's a lot of people who will do that, who will keep their performance to a certain level because they say, well, I'm not doing anything extra. Okay, well, then why are you there? Other than the fact that, yes, you're doing your job, but are you doing your job to the fullest of your capabilities? If you're able to do more things, you never know. And if you say, well, they're not going to pay me extra for doing this or that. Well, there's other jobs, that something maybe that you might be more inclined to be more productive at, or maybe more happier doing. You just never know. And I know people have their different reasons, but I also know that sometimes people don't move out of fear, fear of the unknown, fear of, what if I don't like it here? What if I don't like it there? That kind of thing. And so, but you should not, in an industry like medical coding, or medical billing, you should not punish the people that really are going to be affected by your performance, which is the patients and the providers. Because think about this, everything that you select and your knowledge is going to be based on what those patients have to pay as their copay for the services the provider is performing. And if you don't take it upon yourself to understand what the provider is performing and ensure that those codes are correct and the procedure codes are correct, then you could be cheating the provider out of monies that they are entitled to based on their work that they've done. So it's on us, guys. It really is on us as medical coders to ensure that we are educating ourselves to the fullest and to the most that we can, so that these patients don't suffer, and neither do the providers. Okay. And that's another thing you can add to your evaluation. Your self-evaluation is if you are taking part. Okay. Here's the thing. This may not even be a bullet point on like your standards, right? For whatever your job is. It may not even be a bullet point on those standards. But if you are taking additional classes, if you are doing additional things to get certifications that are going to make you more specialized in whatever you're doing, like say for instance CDI, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about getting certified in OBGYN coding or ER coding. Guys, come on. All of that stuff is covered in the CCA, CCS, CCSP, or the CPC. All of those subjects are covered in those. I'm talking about specialty things like CDI or clinical health data management. Those are different things, right? Because those have nothing to do with coding. And if you are, pursuing your degree, whether it's the associate's degree or the bachelor's degree, those are things that you can add to your evaluation, because this says this person is bringing more than the average coder or more than the average biller to us. And don't feel compelled that you have to do this, guys, if that's not what you want to do. If you want to be a coder or be a biller and you do not want to pursue a degree, guys, don't pursue the degree. All right. I will say that, because a lot of times what people don't do is they don't do their research. And sometimes people will be motivated to pursue their degree for the wrong reasons. You have to be motivated for the right reasons in order to be able to maximize what you can get from pursuing higher education. If you just want to be a medical coder, guys, that's why you have a certification. Having a degree is only good if you are the RHIA or the RHIT, okay? The health information technician or health information management degrees, right? Those are only going to work if you are wanting to pursue leadership. That is not if you want to be a medical coder only. Please hear me when I say this, because both of those programs are concentrating on the managerial side or the technical side, doing, the HR type stuff, because those are meant to be our leaders. And the reason that I say this is because a lot of times people think that, well, if I pursue a degree, I'm going to make more money. No, that is not true. I have made more than people who have an RHIA or an RHIT when I had the CCA, mainly because it was my knowledge that got me more money, but they had degrees and they had to pay more for their education because obviously they went and got, schooling for it. So that's what I'm saying. If you are just wanting to be a coder, that's why we have certifications, okay? If you are wanting to do the degree, it is because you're wanting to be in management, leadership, or education. One of those three. So that's something that you got to keep in mind. But if you are, in fact, pursuing additional education, or you're taking supplemental classes to help you to understand medical terminology or anatomy, maybe you're taking a class at the local college, or maybe you're taking an online program, to help you with medical terminology or anatomy and things like that. That's something that you could put on your evaluation as well, because that's showing that you're going above and beyond to try to understand, what it is that you're doing. If you're purchasing additional books, that's something else that you can add to your evaluation. You can tell them what books that you purchased. If you purchased a coding companion, that's also applicable to your self-evaluation, because look, you're investing in yourself to get better. And so that's something that you can say on there. I purchased these, XYZ books, in order to gain a further and deeper understanding of the subject matter. right? So that's something that you can add to there. And again, it's very simple and to the point. If you are attending conference or like the national conference from AHIMA or AAPC, or if you're attending a local chapter, a local state affiliate, their their conferences, state conferences, right? The state conferences, then you want to go ahead and put that on there as well, because again, it's showing that you are making an effort to learn more about the industry just by doing that. Okay. If you are serving on the board of one of these association state chapters or local chapters or whatever, you can also put that as well, because that shows service to our industry, into the health information industry. So that's something that you can think about, and that's something that you can put there on your self-evaluation, because again, it's showing that you're doing all of these things outside of, you know, your work, so that way you can develop into a better medical coder or even a better biller. If you're taking any kind of classes to help you professionally develop, that's also something that you can write on your self-evaluation, because these are the things that people don't think about adding, you know, but they do impact your abilities. The person that is doing this, all these things, going to conferences and, you know, buying books and attending classes and doing all these other things, is going to be a lot more valuable than the person who is putting in no effort and who is saying, well, I'm not going to do that because that's not my job and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, I'm just here to collect a check and go home. That attitude, I mean, to me, that's not going to get you anywhere. There's a lot of people on Instagram who will disagree with me. And it's not just the younger generation who will say that. It's really anybody, because it's just the time that we live in now. But guys, the more effort you put into something, there's bigger rewards to it. It's not just about, I do this for my job, this is where I go to collect money. This is about life in general, guys. It's about life in general. Yes, I'm straying a little bit off the topic, but this is my channel. I'm going to say what I like. When you are enjoying what you do in your work, it's going to show. It's going to show in your work. It's going to show in your energy that you bring to that facility, to that doctor's office. And a lot of times people will say, well, I'm going to wait till I retire and then I'm going to be happy with what I'm doing because I'm just working in this, you know, that's the job. That's the thought process they have, and they never truly enjoy what they're doing. And then by the time they get to retirement, they're like, what do I do now? You know what I mean? So they wasted so many years just being miserable and having that miserable thought process of, well, you know, I'm just doing this for a check to go home, you know, and then I'll be happy when I retire. And then when they retire, they find that they're also not happy because they've kept up that mentality, and you can't do that. So if you start enjoying what you're doing now, you don't have to wait for the future to be happy. You can be happy right now. And again, that energy that you're bringing from that happiness that you have in your heart for doing medical coding or medical billing and coding is going to really make a difference. I have, personally, when it was my 10-year anniversary at work, I had put out canvases where people could sign, and like, you know, if they wanted to say anything, you know, anything like that. And I have those signs in that canvas, because it's on 2 different canvases, and I have it in my office, and where it says happy 10 years. And some of those, they say, you make this such a wonderful place to work at. And you could tell they were being very genuine and very true to what they were saying, because, you know, and it's because of the energy that I bring. And that was more than once that I saw that on my canvas. And I thought that was so nice, you know, but you never know. And when you share that excitement for medical coding, when you share that excitement for medical billing, it's going to reflect in the energy that is there in that environment. And that can really make a difference in the environment too. You know, if you have a bunch of miserable people around who are complaining, you know, that's also going to show on their self-evaluations as well. But again, these self-evaluations is supposed to be where you are highlighting all the things that you've done to make yourself a better coder, or what ways have you improved, what ways have you contributed to the organization, right? And whether it is that you are serving on the safety committee, or maybe events planning, or any of those things, if you organize those things, those are the things that you need to add to that self-evaluation. And if your self-evaluation looks a little thin and you're thinking, gosh, I didn't really do much this year, then just focus on, the fact that, did you keep up with your accuracy and your productivity? Did you help your coworkers? Did you have to present any education? Did you educate your providers? That's another thing too. If you had to do a class for your provider education, then you put that on there. You put the date that you did the class, what the class was about, and how many providers were in attendance. That's why you keep that sign-in sheet, so that way you know and you can keep track during the year. And if you haven't been doing that, this is a good time to keep that in mind for the next coming year. That you educated your providers, that you email, or that you sent appropriate queries, appropriate and legal queries to the providers when their documentation was lacking, okay? And if you had to do one-on-one with some of your providers, that's also something that you can write down on your self-evaluation, that you took the time to educate the providers based on their needs, based on however it is that they learn best, whether it is through short little quick emails, as far as like if you're doing the coding tip of the week. That's what I do at my facility. Now, again, it's been a little hit and miss some of these weeks, but for the most part, when it is on schedule, on time, once a week, I do coding tip of the week. And I usually send it out between Tuesday and Thursday, any day between there, because Monday brain is no bueno. Friday brain, they're just ready to get out of there, and they're going to forget by Monday what you said. But if you can catch them, if you can send this quick email between Tuesday and Thursday, you're good to go, okay? And I've explained before how to do it. You write out everything that you want to say, and then you cut it in half, and then you cut it into a quarter. So, or you cut it in half again, so it leaves a quarter from what you originally started. But if you do that, that's going to be right and simple to the point. And that's what these doctors want. They don't want all this fluffy stuff. They don't care. And if you start off with, oh, I hope your day is going really great. Guys, what do you want? What is it? What do you want? Because that's what would be my reaction if I was a doctor and I was looking at this. What do you want? Please, let's not go through all these things. Let's just get right to the point. Oh, okay. This week's coding tip of the week is about modifier 25 or modifier 24. Here's a tip, and then you talk about it really quick. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Boom. Then you're done. Okay. And that's how you write out your evaluation. If you did those coding tip of the week, that's what you write in there. Okay. If you spent extra time with providers to try to help them to better understand the documentation process, or explain why the coding rules are the way they are, write that on there. So those are the things that you should be keeping track of when you're doing your evaluations. Everything is for something at the end of the year, okay? Whether your year-end evaluation is this month or whether it is in March like it is mine, it just really all depends, okay, on you. But some of the things that I will be adding is the fact that I attended conference. I paid out of pocket to go, and all the purchasing of all the books that I've been getting to help me, to give me those tools. And that's things I want to call to their attention, to my leadership and to my supervisor, who may not know, so that's just what I would say on that. So make sure that you write it properly. There's lots of helpful bullet points out there that are pre-done, but you can adjust them based on your duties and what you do at your facility. But there's lots of them. You can Google that, guys. Google it. Doing your research is very important. And don't be shy about, all the things that you do, okay? Because, again, somebody may not know that, and you can't always just assume that it's common knowledge, okay? And be objective as far as like, okay, this is what I do, and not subjective, which I'm the greatest employee. No, because they're going to see that based on what you have on your evaluation. I'm just saying. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this one up. Best of luck to you. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all next time. Bye.